Alright, so the Trident is getting its first service done. So here's the loaner bike they give me. It's a 2022 Royal Enfield Interceptor 650. It's like a parallel twin. He said it does have some aftermarket parts on it, 2-in-1 exhaust and a cam kit, so this will be fun. I've never ridden a Royal Enfield before. I've heard mixed reviews about them. Sounds pretty good. Cable throttle. This will be fun. I don't know anything about this bike. I have no specs on it, nothing. All he said was, please no toll roads. Alright, so I got a 29-inch inseam, and I can easily get both platforms down. So this is probably around a 31-inch seat height. God. Alright, so the foot pegs are in the same place as they are on those Speed Twins, so they hit my shin. Kind of awkward placement. That's alright. Good seated position. Heel right underneath my hip. Very similar to the Trident. Alright, so we're going to do some road stuff here. I got Jingor on my comms. He's well, they can't hear you. He said hi though. I got to figure out how to get the GoPro to record the... There we go. I think it heard me say its name, so it did something. Alright, so I guess I'll follow you if you... Did you find someplace for us to eat? I'll do the same route I did the other bikes on. Okay, yeah, let's just kind of... We can explore. We can always find our way back. Alright. It's a very firm seat. Easy to stand up on, at least. Alright, so the throttle feel is definitely different with the cable. I've been, you know, both my bikes that I have at home now are throttle by wire. This is a cable throttle. The shifter is very soft. Hold on, let me adjust something here. How many miles does this have on it? 9,939.8. This sounds nice though. Jeez, it's loud too. Is it real loud back there to you, Jingor? Pretty peppy. But yeah, it's got a nice little rumble to it. I know nothing about these motorcycles, these Royal Enfields, other than that they're, I think it used to be a British brand, or maybe it is a British brand, but they're made in India. Alright, let's go right. Oh, there's no gear indicator. There's a neutral indicator, but that's it. It smells good. What does it smell like? Exhaust. Alright, go after this Honda. Huh. It does not... Hold on. Alright, so the power comes on pretty late. I was rolling on pretty heavy, and it was going. Obviously, it's not going to have the torque that a triple does. But I could definitely feel the power starting to come on as it wrapped up. I was not looking at the RPM gauge when I did that, This has got to be somebody's personal bike. There's a phone mount. Am I on just some random guy's bike from the shop? Steven's bike, is that what they said? Thanks, Steven. Alright, I'm gonna watch the RPMs this time. Oh. It definitely likes to be higher in the RPM range. I'm about 4,000 right here, and I bet it'll... Yeah, the power starts to come on around 5,000. Alright, so I'm gonna slow it down a little bit. The seated position on this is pretty comfortable. The handlebars are in a good place. The seat is really firm. I don't know that I like that. Sounds good. Give it that. It's definitely not peppy. It might be fast, but it's not peppy. Which is interesting. So if this is a 650 parallel twin. So it's about the same displacement as the Trident, but the Trident has much more torque with that triple engine. I'd be interested to look at the torque and the horsepower ratings between the two. It does have an additional cam kit, he said, in it, so some aftermarket parts. Let's take a right here. Obviously, he didn't say exactly what it was or any kind of power gains on it. And then he said it had an exhaust on it. There's definitely not going to, as far as I can tell, no computers on this bike. So I don't know that like an ECU flash would do much. It is definitely loud. The suspension's good. It's not firm. It's not like harsh, but it's definitely not so soft that I doubt its effectiveness. Still feel the road, but it's not squishy. God, there's no gear indicator. It's old school. Spicy. Alright, so this is definitely not a I'm gonna go fast bike, which obviously I don't think that's its intention. I think this is just it is a good beginner bike, I would say that, even if with the 650 displacement, because it's not going to get away from you. I was pulling it pretty hard. I think I redlined it. I'll have to watch the video later, but I definitely felt the engine sputter, so I think I did redline it. But at no point did I feel like I was out of control of what was happening. So I think this, I do believe, like I said, I don't know a whole lot about these Royal Enfields, but I do believe they're more catered towards a beginner market. I'd have to look and see what their range is as far as engine sizes, but yeah, I don't think they go much above the 650 class. I'd be curious to know how many gears it has too. Maybe if we stay on the service road after this light, can see. I'm going to slow down. Okay, so there's first, second, third, fourth. Is this really a 4-speed? Or that doesn't make any sense? Looks like we're going to force UE here. That's okay. I'll pop it back down again and see. Maybe it is a 4-speed. There was one of the earlier Honda Shadow 600s, I believe, was also a 4-speed, and that kind of threw me for a loop. Okay, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Okay, so there are 5. Oh, 6. I found 6. Interesting. Okay, so that would be a decent highway bike if it's got 6 gears. This little windscreen it has on it is deflecting a decent amount of wind. I still feel it on my shoulders and on my head. Yeah, when I rise up, I don't get a burst of wind. So I think it's just taking the brunt off my chest, which is fine. You know, it's not a bad little bike, and they're cheap. Oh, you're just gonna cut me off? Yeah, the parallel twins do have a nice sound to them. Wee wee. You could have good exhaust on it, you know. It does sound like the T100, T120 bikes that I rode. Of course, those are also parallel twins. So that they do have a really nice sound to them. The only thing about this bike that I'm just not a fan of is how slow the power comes on. I don't remember that being the case with the T100. You know, granted, those were much bigger motors. I think the T100's a 900cc or something. Oh, this guy's trying to. And the T120 is over 1,000. I think it's 1,200. God, I do not like where those pegs are. I just knocked my shin on it again. The Speed Twin was the same. I don't remember it being as big of an issue on the Bonnevilles, the T120 and the T100. But it's just, they're not in a good place. You can't put your foot down without knocking it. It is interesting though that it's a 2022, but it's got all this old school stuff on it, like all the cables. You know, I bet it's carbureted. Is it liquid cooled? Do you see a radiator on the front? Okay, so it is liquid cooled. When we stop, I'll look and see if it's got carburetors on it. I would not be surprised at all. I don't see a choke on it though. How funny would it be if it had one of those old school like pull chokes on the motor? I don't know. I wasn't out there when you started it. It does sound good though. Yeah, if this is the 650, then their little 300s have got to be, God, I don't know, just, I would not take that on the highway. That guy was eyeballing me something fierce. Want a piece of this? God, first gear is really short too. I bet they've got it geared super wide at the top. It almost hesitates like a Harley. Just put a Harley cam in it, you know? Go ahead, I'll turn after you. Well, now that the service is done, I just finished that video, so time to finish this one. Final thoughts on the Royal Enfield. I think it's a fantastic option for a beginner bike. Didn't have too much power, like I was saying. I never felt like it was going to get away from me. It's got a 650 parallel twin. It's not super torquey. The power's there. You got to kind of find it upper RPM range. It did not have any rider modes. It did not have traction control. It did not have ABS. It didn't have any of that kind of stuff. But very simple bike. It was carbureted. I did look when I got off of it and checked it out. Air cooled, sorry, liquid cooled, not air cooled. I was really getting a lot of kind of classic standard bike vibes from it, like a 80s or a 90s vibe, even though it was a 22 model, which just blows my mind. But they're cheap. They're very cheap bikes. So if you're looking for something, you know, on the less expensive side to get into the riding hobby, that would be a great option for you. They do have smaller displacement bikes, but I really do think that 650 would be a really good first bike option. I meant to talk to Jing a little bit more on camera about his experiences with the Trident as a beginner bike, but I kept forgetting, so I will have to get that from him later. We'll get a little interview going or something, see what he thinks about it. Anyway, so wrapping it up, would I buy one? I probably would not. Nothing against the bike, it's just I've got other things. Like, this is so much peppier, so much more nimble, so much more fun. Would I recommend it to a new rider? Absolutely. Would it fill the classic standard bike niche in your garage if you needed something else? Absolutely. I've always wanted to get like an old 70s Bonneville to fix up. So if I ever decide to scratch that classic itch, that's probably the direction I'm going to go. Well, I'm also interested to see how this low light recording happens with this GoPro Hero 6 Black that I'm using. So it'll be interesting to see after the fact. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave some comments below on what you think of the Royal Enfield. If you've ever ridden one, I'd be curious to see what you think. And I'd also be curious to know about the reliability and longevity of those bikes if you happen to own one. So let me know. I'll see you on the next one. Keep the shiny side up.